Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really jumping into something interesting, a big opportunity for rural landowners, one that maybe gets overlooked sometimes. Owning land out in the country, it's the dream for a lot of people, isn't it? That peace, the space, just getting away from it all. But let's be honest, it's not always easy. It costs money, right? Taxes, upkeep, and then you've got the unwelcome visitors. And I don't mean Uncle Bob showing up unannounced. I'm talking deer munching your garden, pigs tearing up fields, turkeys, maybe even elk just feasting on your crops. Rural land is a huge investment, so finding ways to make that land, work for you, that's really key. We've got some excellent source material today, and it points to a really powerful tool, Hunting Leases. Our mission here is to pull out the absolute must-know info, helping you understand how leasing out hunting rights can, well, bring in cash and help protect those crops.
Yeah, it's fascinating actually how often landowners don't quite connect those dots, the dual benefit. It's not just, oh, extra income. It's a really practical way to manage wildlife, especially if, you don't hunt yourself, but you're seeing the damage. This deep dive will lay out what you need to think about, what to avoid, and how to make it work well for everyone involved.
Okay, great. So let's break it down. What exactly is a hunting lease agreement at its core?
Well, in simple terms, it's basically a contract. It's between you, the landowner, and a hunter, or maybe a group of hunters. Typically, they run for a year, and it gives them the exclusive right to hunt on your specific piece of property.
Okay.
Now, the idea itself isn't brand new. Paying for access has roots way back. But the modern lease agreement that really took off as land got divided up more, wildlife populations grew, and frankly, finding good hunting spots got harder. What used to be maybe just a handshake deal, with a neighbor,
Yeah.
it's become more formal, more structured now. Our sources say, look, they can seem complex, but once you get the main parts, they're manageable. It's really about clarity, who does what, where, when. A proper agreement.
Okay, so it's like renting out your land for a specific purpose, usually yearly to certain people. Sounds pretty clear when you put it like that. So beyond that structure, let's revisit the benefits. Why should a landowner really consider this? We mentioned income, crop protection. Can we elaborate a bit?
Absolutely. The why bother part is pretty compelling.
Right.
First, the money. Let's not gloss over that. You're turning land, which might just be sitting there costing you money in taxes and upkeep, into something that generates revenue.
Right, taxes, fencing, roads, it adds up.
Exactly. And a good lease can often cover a lot of that, maybe even all of it, making the land basically pay for itself.
Yeah.
But then there's the other big piece, dealing with wildlife damage. If you're farming, you know this pain. You plant corn, soybeans, whatever, and then boom, hogs come through overnight and wipe out a section. Or deer just constantly browse down everything new.
Oh, yeah, that's heartbreaking and expensive.
It really is. Thousands in lost yield, replanting. It's significant. And hunting, managed through a lease. It's a super effective, natural way to keep those populations in check. So you're taking something that could be a problem, the wildlife, and turning it into an asset. Smart management, really. Both profit and practical ecology.
That really drives it home. It's solving a problem while generating income. Okay, so let's get practical. Our sources highlight some really key things you need to nail down when you're actually putting together a lease agreement. This is where you make it work for your land, your goals.
Exactly. This is where the details really count. Good planning here avoids headaches later and makes sure everyone's happy. Think of them like 7 pillars for a solid lease. Miss one, and things can get shaky. Let's go through them.
All right, pillar number 1, the price. How do you land on a number that feels right? Fair for you, affordable for them?
Yeah, the money question. It's tricky. One thing sources mention is landowners sometimes overestimate based on their own costs or feelings about the land, but maybe underestimate what the market will bear or what hunters are actually willing to pay for a good spot. The goal isn't just any price, it's the sweet spot price that attracts good, reliable hunters. People who respect the land, maybe even stick around for years.
Right, long-term is better than just a quick buck sometimes.
Definitely. Sometimes a slightly lower price for a multi-year deal with great people is worth way more than squeezing every last penny out of a one-year lease where you start over again next year. So what determines price? Well, acreage, obviously. The quality of the habitat, what kind of animals are there? Is there like trophy potential? That drives price up.
Okay.
How many different species can they hunt? And even, believe it or not, how far are you from a city? Access matters.
Makes sense. But if you're just starting, how do you figure all that out? Seems like a lot to juggle. Are there tools or tricks?
Yeah, good question. You don't want to just guess. Market research is key. Look around, see what similar leases nearby are going for. Check online hunting forums, maybe local land listings. Sometimes state wildlife agencies or extension offices have a sense of local rates.
Okay.
Focus on that price per acre, but also factor in the quality. Is it prime habitat like yours or just average? But honestly,
Hmm.
an easier route, and one our sources recommend, is using a professional leasing agent.
Ah, like a specialist.
Exactly. Companies like, say, Camp Leasing, that's their whole business. They know the market, they have lists of hunters looking for spots, they handle the vetting.
Takes the guesswork out.
Totally. They can often get you a fair, consistent price and save you a ton of hassle. They'll also know the best pricing model per acre, per hunter, flat fee. Depends on your setup.
Got it. So pricing is pillar one.
Right.
What's next? Thinking about how long this agreement actually lasts. A year.
Wow.
Longer. What's the thinking there?
Right, duration. Pillar 2. Most leases start at 1 year minimum. But the sources generally lean towards longer leases being better, if possible. For both sides, actually.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, for you, the landowner, fewer renewals, less paperwork, predictable income year after year. Less hassle.
Makes sense.
And for the hunters, a longer lease, say 3 or 5 years, gives them a real reason to invest. They're much more likely to put time and money into habitat improvements, planting food plots, clover, brassicas, stuff deer love, maintaining trails, maybe even some light timber work to create bedding areas.
So they actually start managing the land with you in a way.
Precisely. They become stewards because they know they'll reap the benefits over several seasons. It's an investment for them, too.
But I guess the downside is being locked in. What if it's not working out or you want the land back for something else?
Exactly the caveat. That's crucial. If you're doing a multi-year deal, everyone needs to be comfortable, and the contract needs to be crystal clear. Spell out rights, responsibilities, and importantly, how either party can get out of it if needed. Termination clauses, maybe even how the price might adjust over time.
Right.
So the advice is often, start with 1 year. Treat it like a trial run. If it goes well, you like the hunters, they like the arrangement, then talk about extending it for a longer term.
Yeah.
Build that trust first.
Yeah. Good advice. Pillar 3. How many hunters? And does everyone get the run of the whole place exclusivity?
Yeah, this is a big one. It really comes down to a few things. Your comfort level, how big the property is, and honestly, how good the habitat is. Can it support multiple hunters without feeling crowded or overpressuring the game? Too many hunters. It can ruin the experience for everyone, cause conflicts. Just not good. Now, if you've got a really large property, maybe you could divide it.
Yeah.
Lease Section A to one group, Section B to another. Clear boundaries, separate access. That could work.
Ah, okay. Multiple leases.
Yeah, potentially boosting income. But generally, the number of hunters impacts the price per hunter. More hunters might mean less value for each individual because it's less exclusive.
Right, less elbow room.
Exactly. So it's a balancing act. Maximize income versus ensuring a quality, sustainable hunt. Again, this is where talking to an experienced lease manager can really help figure out the carrying capacity of your land.
Okay. So we've got price, duration, number of hunters. Now let's talk risk. You mentioned peace of mind earlier. Insurance, why is that so non-negotiable?
Oh, pillar 4, and it's absolutely foundational. Honestly, it's the simplest way to build trust and remove a huge source of potential friction. Your standard homeowner's insurance, or even your farm liability policy, 9 times out of 10, it will not cover paying guests engaging in recreational activities, especially something like hunting.
Really? That's a big gap.
Huge gap. So if
Yeah.
something happens, someone falls from a tree stand, there's an accident, you, the landowner, could be held liable. We're talking potentially massive legal and financial trouble.
Wow.
A specific hunting lease insurance policy closes that gap. It protects you. It protects the hunters while they're on your property. It covers liability for accidents. It just removes that whole layer of worry. It's usually not even that expensive annually, but the peace of mind it buys? Absolutely essential. Don't skip this.
Definitely sounds critical. Okay, pillar 5. What can the hunters actually do on the land? Can they build blinds, plant things, make changes?
Yeah, land modifications. This needs to be spelled out very, very clearly in the lease because hunters often do want to make improvements. They might want to put up permanent box blinds or hang portable tree stands. Planting food plots is a big one, especially for deer hunting.
Right, you mentioned clover, brassicas.
Exactly. These aren't just random seeds. There's specific plantings to provide nutrition, attract deer to certain areas, improve herd health. It takes some know-how. Some serious hunters might even want to do things like thin out some trees to create better bedding cover or plant specific grasses.
So allowing that kind of stuff, does it make the lease worth more?
It definitely can. The more responsible modifications you allow with your approval, of course, the more attractive your land becomes, especially to serious long-term hunters. It suggests they can really invest in making the hunting better.
But you need rules, I imagine.
Absolutely. The agreement must say, get approval first for any modification. Spell out who maintains it, who removes it when the lease ends, maybe even specify types of stands or materials. You don't want damage to valuable timber, for instance.
Right.
So allowing it can increase value, but it needs clear guidelines and oversight. Communication is key.
Makes sense. Okay, pillar 6, logistics. Getting on and off the property. Access. How do you manage that without disrupting your own life?
Access is a classic friction point if you don't define it. You likely have preferred ways you want people coming onto your land, right?
Yeah, definitely don't want trucks driving past the house at 4 a.m.
Exactly. Hunters come early, they stay late. That can be disruptive near your home or farm buildings. So the lease needs to state precisely where they can enter, where they can park, which roads or trails they can use,
Yeah.
maybe even when they can access, like, no entry between certain hours.
Okay. Designate zones.
Yes. And maybe even set up a communication system like text when you arrive, text when you leave. Locked gates with shared keys are common too. Just setting those clear boundaries protects your privacy and security and avoids misunderstandings down the road.
All right, last pillar, number 7. What animals are actually fair game? Do you get a say in what they hunt?
You absolutely do. Now, state laws obviously set the legal seasons, bag limits, all that. You can't override those. But within those legal limits, you, the landowner, decide which species can be hunted on your property.
Ah, okay, so you can customize it.
Totally. Maybe you're fine with deer hunting, but you really like the pheasants, so no pheasant hunting. Or maybe you don't want coyotes hunted for whatever reason. Conversely, maybe you have a wild hog problem and you want them hunted heavily. You can specify that.
Could you even set rules like only bucks with a certain number of points? Quality management stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Things like antler restrictions, limiting doe harvest, archery only periods.
Yeah.
You could put those rules in the lease if they align with your goals for the property's wildlife. Just be explicit. List the species allowed, list any species specifically not allowed, and detail any special harvest rules. Clarity prevents confusion.
Wow. Okay, that was a really thorough breakdown of the 7 pillars. Price, duration, number of hunters, insurance, modifications, access, and species covers a lot of ground.
It really does, and hitting all those points is what makes for a smooth, successful lease.
So we've gone from the why, the income, the crop protection, to the how crafting that solid agreement.
And the bottom line seems to be clear communication, mutual respect, knowing what you want out of it as the landowner. If you approach it thoughtfully, define your goals first, and then build the lease around those goals, it really can be a win-win. Good for your bottom line, good for the land, good for the hunters.
So for you listening, if you own rural land, this deep dive gives you a pretty clear roadmap, right? A way to unlock income, manage wildlife, and really turn that land into a more active asset. It's not just passive ownership anymore.
Exactly. And maybe here's something to chew on, a final thought. What if you went beyond just a simple annual lease? What if you deliberately built a long-term partnership with a really committed group of hunters? Maybe you empower them within clear guidelines to make significant investments in habitat that are food plots, water sources, maybe even some timber stand improvement. How could that kind of deeper collaboration not only boost your lease income significantly over time, but also genuinely improve the ecological health, the biodiversity, and the overall long-term value of your land itself? It shifts from just renting access to co-stewardship. That interplay between economics and ecology, that's where things can get really interesting for the future of your property.